Every day, the population on our planet continues to grow and grow and grow. It grows quite substantially, actually. We are constantly trying to find new ways to keep up with the needs of humans while also preserving the natural resources and the natural wonders on the earth so that we continue to have a planet to support human life. Um, it is very important, and every day becomes more and more important that we find ways to reduce the amount of pollution that we are putting out into the world, into the atmosphere, and find ways to recycle resources and lower the impact that we leave on the earth. Um, we need to do this to not only preserve the natural beauties on the planet, but to also make sure that we have somewhere for us to live and for our future generations to live. One of the biggest ways that we can lower the amount of pollution that we put out into the world and lower the impact that us humans have on the planet is by recycling. So think about how much plastics, like aluminum foil, styrofoam, stuff like that, that you go through in your household on a daily basis, or even on a weekly basis if you're someone who doesn't use paper plates or doesn't use reusable items. Um, so then also after you consider what you use, think about what restaurants use, other businesses use, all of the people in the world. Imagine how much waste we are putting out. So we can help to save our oceans, save the ecosystems in the oceans, and also save ecosystems all around the planet by recycling. We can preserve our planet for future generations, make sure that our grandkids and their grandkids have somewhere to live. And we can also make the planet a cleaner, safer place for future generations. So next time you think about when you're throwing something in the trash, think about, is it an item that could be recycled and be reused? So by recycling, we can greatly reduce the amount of plastics that end up in the ocean. So by doing so, then we can protect the marine life and the ecosystems in the ocean, which are much more important than you would think. An article written by the Residential Waste System states one of the best things that you can do for the environment is to be conscious of how you are disposing of your trash. Not only does it protect our oceans, but it protects our resources. It protects them because we don't have to go and harvest new resources. We can just use the ones that we already have. We can also protect wildlife from hazardous waste like oil, and we can keep animals from accidentally ingesting or becoming entangled in plastics. So be sure to recycle all empty bottles and cans. So thousands of pounds, millions of pounds of plastics end up in the ocean each year, causing the death of thousands of marine animals and causing unsightly beaches. You can change this by making sure to recycle all plastics and any materials that are suitable for recycling. You even see now on a lot of beaches and in public parks and forest preserves, you will see the special cans for recycling right next to the trash cans. So just the 1 second that it takes you to toss your bottle into the recycling bin instead of the garbage can makes such a huge difference. Instead of using, another way that you can reduce the amount of plastic that you're using is to use reusable containers. Instead of using or getting a bottle of water, you can buy a reusable bottle of water that you can reuse infinitely. And then that way you are lowering the impact that you are having on the earth. So according to Ocean Crusaders, if you joined all of the water bottles that we use each year, it would circumvent the globe 4,200 times. And that amount of bottles kills about 100,000 marine creatures each year. So what we have here is it says the Ocean Crusaders say 100,000 marine creatures a year die from plastic, whether it's entanglement or from them inhaling it. And it says approximately 1 million seabirds also die from plastic. Plastics can also kill numerous animals, such as others that live along the coast. So by recycling, we can ensure that we also can stop the rise of temperatures in the ocean. According to National Geographic, perhaps the ocean organism most vulnerable to temperature change is coral. There's evidence that reefs will bleach and even a slight persistent temperature rise. Bleaching slows coral growth and makes them susceptible to diseases and can lead to large-scale reef die-off. So our coral reefs house huge ecosystems, all different types of marine life. So when it starts to die, it not only is hurting itself, but it hurts all of those things that live off of the coral. Other issues that are included with the plastic that ends up in our oceans and has to do with the temperature rising in the ocean is that it can cause higher sea levels. This then creates massive shoreline erosion and stronger storms and encourages the growth of invasive species and marine disease. So something so small that you may not think about, like tossing your plastic bottle on the beach or in the park, could have such dire consequences. So now that you know how important it is to recycle for our oceans, we will now see how it helps the economy and also encourages tourism. So by recycling, we can rid our planet of unsightly trash and restore the beauty of all of its natural wonders. When we do not recycle, our trash can end up in beaches, forests, mountains, and other national tourist attractions, not to mention when you walk down a city street, instead of focusing on all of the architecture and everything around you, you just see the unsightly trash. Once you kind of lose the beauty of the beaches, then the tourists don't want to go to the beaches, which thus then it hurts the economy. The most recent example of how the waste we produce can harm tourism is by the red tide that appeared in Florida this year. Not only did it harm the locals and the marine life, but it also hurt many business owners and stopped tourism completely for the amount of time that it was there. An article in the New York Times claims or interviewed a local business owner on the effects the red tide had on his business. He said, "This is the worst I've ever seen it in my life. We normally get 15 to 20 calls a day, and we normally send our clients out on water excursions with the stand-up paddle boards and inner tubes. But I've been canceling the trip. I don't want to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. I don't want them jumping in the water and leaving me a negative review." So we are having not only an impact on the natural side of the planet, but we're also hurting small business owners who are, just trying to make a living. So now that we must look at the most important reason why we should recycle and reduce the amount of pollution that we're putting in the earth. And that is simply so that we have a planet to pass down to our future generations. By recycling, we can preserve the planet and we can make a better place for all of the people who have to continue to live here even after we are all gone or we move on. So an article written by Wynn Sardin, who is the CEO of operations at Wynn Plastic Recycling, said that recycling helps minimize pollution. One way we can minimize pollution is through recycling and reusing garbage. When people burn garbage, this harms the ozone layer and produces harmful gases, which can lead to respiratory disease like cough and asthma, among others. When garbage is thrown into the ocean, it could kill and affect our marine resources and coral reefs. That's why every time we reduce waste, reuse, and recycle our garbage, from used plastic bottles to disposable cups and utensils, paper, and other plastic products, we get to save the earth and even millions of lives from the harmful effects of pollution. There are many people who do not think into the future and do not see a need to recycle because as of right now, it's not really affecting them. We kind of are just starting to see the crazy effects that it has. When we do not recycle, we set off a harmful chain of events that has a serious negative effect on the planet. People only think to make it through their day or only to make it through their year, when really we need to be looking at the bigger picture so that it's not all gone. An article on alternet.org includes the reporting of a meeting held by 27 of the top ocean scientists. They all claim that all 5 mass extinctions of life on Earth, reaching back more than 500 million years, were preceded by many of the same conditions that now afflict our ocean environment. So now that you know how important recycling is, the next time you finish drinking a bottle of water, or you're done eating with your plastic utensils or off your paper plate and you're ready to just throw it in the trash or just toss it aside, take the 1 second to think about it, separate your trash, and throw it in the recycle bin. something as simple as that, as just recycling your bottle rather than putting it in the trash, can have such a huge impact on our earth and can really make sure that the earth is clean and we still have all its resources that our future generations will need. We can not only clean up our oceans and greatly reduce the pollution and harmful effects by recycling, but we can also clean up all of the unsightly trash, bring back all of the beauty of the beaches and the forest preserves, and kind of help boost the economy when it comes to businesses that are based on tourism. Um, and then, once again, the biggest, most important thing that we must get from recycling is that it will help us to make sure that the earth is here for our future generations.